Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. You ever notice how society keeps pushing this idea to women that being traditional and wanting a good man and family doesn't matter anymore? Like having a stable home, a strong family unit, or long-term commitment is suddenly old-fashioned. It's wild how we've gone from valuing family to treating it like it's optional or even a burden. Women are being told that choosing to care for a family means isolation and oppression. It's everywhere. In movies, in music, on social media. Let me know your thoughts and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started.
Why do women these days think that having a sugar daddy is women empowerment? This is literally the patriarchy in its highest form. When you understand that the central banking system pumps fiat currency, as in money that has no intrinsic value, into circulation, and that money really is just a figment of our imagination right now, and that its purchasing power is going down, the fact that a woman gives away the most vulnerable part of herself for essentially nothing just blows my mind. New age feminists want to talk about how we've worked for decades and decades to achieve equality between the sexes. Man and woman are equal. However, we have hit a complete regression. And what giving a man sex for money does is it tells the male species that a woman is so low valued that you can pay something as little as money to get her.
We need to talk. It's about time that people become aware of what it is that they're being programmed with, specifically when it comes to music and the music industry. If you look at a lot of artists, they are people who, for example, are doing tons of drugs and alcohol, objectifying women and objectifying themselves. And my question is, why is it that people think that this is cool? There are so many people out there that aspire to be like a celebrity when, if you were actually to have a conversation and get to know them, they're most likely miserable people. Why do I say this? Because anyone who loves themselves does not continually do drugs and alcohol and objectify other people, because you're going to treat others how you feel about yourself.
I've had too many times where I've witnessed women brainwash children and deprive men of access to their children. And that child grows up completely and utterly loyal to their mum. And with that loyalty, you have to sacrifice objectivity. In order to be completely loyal to your brainwashing mother, you have to be naive about women. Men who grew up with just their mum and no access to their father and no access to the dad's side of the story are more likely to be cheated on.
Feminism, in this idea that women are being specifically programmed by society to reject the idea of seeking out a life partner that would be a good long-term commitment for them. Instead, she should be putting her career first. She should be climbing the corporate ladder first. She should be putting herself first. Draw yourself a bubble bath and drink a glass of rosé, girl, because self-love is going to be way more important than investing in a long-term relationship. Similarly, that is causing the friend zoning of countless men who are really looking for that type of relationship, but we've convinced ourselves that all men want is sex. So why would we even spend the time? Why would we give them 5 minutes of our day to invest in something that could be the greatest thing that ever happened to us? But instead, we're trying to put all of these pointless things first in our lives that ultimately 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road are not going to make us have wholesome, happy, and fulfilling lifestyles.
Women in America have been brainwashed. They've believed a lie that they don't need a man, that they can have a huge bank account and cats and a giant, and they'll be good for life.
Most women that say they want a good man, if you bring her one right now, she probably gonna fuck it up.
Do you think that women are single by choice?
Them saying they're single by choice is because they've been unsuccessful in finding one. We say that we want to be single because we can't find that one, because we're incapable in this season of managing ourselves in that. If you told a woman right now, I have the man, the one you want. If God himself said, right now, if you want this, I have the guy that you want. Everything laid out, everything you want. Because, all women say they got their different preferences. I got your preference right here, ready for a relationship. She's not going to say, no, thank you. They're going to stay single. They want a man. That verbiage of wanting a man on our level, that is our ignorant way of saying that I don't know how to balance this new embodied power I have as a successful woman with being a woman in the presence of a man.
Do you understand why guys would have a problem with a woman with a high body count, though? Do you understand the logic behind it?
I think it's insecurity.
You
That's where
feel
it
it's
comes from.
insecurity?
I think it's insecurity. That's where it comes from.
It's
Like,
fine.
do they really want to have a woman that is just a virgin?
If you ever hear a woman say the word insecure or insecurity, it's basically feminist brainwashing to cover up any of the false arguments that they have. And feminism has seemed to confuse women into thinking that the things that they desire in men should also be the things that men desire in them. Because we're all equal, right? We're all the same thing. There is not even such a thing as gender anymore. But the reality is we are different and we're attracted to different things within each other. Women are attracted to strong, independent providers, and they don't care about the body count. And a truly masculine man is a strong, independent provider, and he doesn't need a woman to do any of that for him. And it's actually unattractive to him for a woman to be doing that because it doesn't add any sort of value to his life when he already has that stuff. Body count is important to him because he's not willing to risk being embarrassed by a promiscuous woman. Because all the stats and studies show once you get over a certain number of bodies, you are not going to have a happy marriage. You're not going to be able to make that level of commitment that he's looking for. And all these women are being taught to be strong and independent and go have your hoe phase. Live life to the fullest. And it makes me so sad because women are not allowed to be women anymore. They're put down for wanting to be stay-at-home wives, for doing all the things that traditional women have always done. Because feminism isn't about supporting women. It's about turning women into men. And any woman that isn't down with that is an enemy to them.
Some women are so impressed by a man who does the bare minimum that they will get very angry with you when you say, hey, you don't gotta settle for the bare minimum anymore. Like, there'll be a woman who will say, my husband is so good to me. He cleans up around the house. He's so amazing. He picks up. And I'm like, that's actually not impressive. That is an adult activity that if he wasn't doing that, that would be very childish. Like if he was just leaving things around the house, expecting you to pick up after him, expecting you to be the only person that cleans up, that would mean that he's treating you like you're his mother. You will do yourself such a favor if you train your brain to realize him doing the same things that you're doing means that those are just basic parts of being in a relationship, basic parts of being an adult, basic parts of, for example, a marriage, having a family together, having a house together. Saying that, reminding women like that's actually not impressive, makes some women very angry. And that's why I always have to remember some women were just raised by maybe a father who maybe treated her mom like crap. So whenever a man performed like a basic task of care or just a basic part of a relationship, women are like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. Like, no, you're actually not. You are settling. You're settling for below average treatment.
You speak Spanish?
Sí.
Okay, yeah.
You speak Spanish?
Yeah.
Pointless question because then she continues to talk in English. So you don't think we're making a cute couple? You can be flat out. Is it because of my
I
face?
don't think so. No, I don't think it's your face.
What is it then? Just be blunt.
I think it's your
I like
height.
honesty. It's height.
Yeah. Like,
Damn.
if you're taller than 6 foot, there are no red flags.
This is why the rate of single moms is the highest it's ever been because they have dumb preferences like that. They don't have a father figure telling them what's right and what's wrong. Why is it gotta be height? Like, what's the deal with height?
I don't know. I think it's just like preference. Or, like, I just want to break my neck, like looking up at you.
Okay. She's lying because the whole merit of height is based on being able to protect. The movies have brainwashed people into thinking the taller you are, the stronger you are. That's not how strength works. But because women can be easily manipulated and brainwashed, they put a higher weight on height. Oh, sorry, I talk about weight while talking about women. They put a higher emphasis on height when it doesn't need to be there. Neither does having more height dictate your manliness, being a good father, being a good husband. Okay, let's say you meet that guy, right?
Yeah.
He got his ass whooped by a 5'4" guy. What's gonna happen to your mind? Still gonna be with him? Or?
That's still my king.
That's lies again. Most women will lose respect for their man when they lose in a fight. If she doesn't, she's a rare one. That's all it should be, but life doesn't work in shoulds.
Think about it, the message is everywhere. Don't settle down too soon. Focus on yourself first. Don't settle for a man that doesn't meet every one of your standards. Now, there's nothing wrong with personal goals or independence. But when that message becomes the only message, we start losing the balance. Women stop valuing loyalty, teamwork, and building something long-term with a man they love. And what's worse, women are taking less and less accountability for their actions and blaming it all on men. Like all of their problems were created by men, and not the fact that they made their choices, and now they have to live with them.
The reason why the dating pool is so trash is because of us. The women, I'm going to explain. Women are so brainwashed that if you're single and that you're not committed or have a ring on your finger, that you could talk to whoever you want to talk to. You could date who you want to date. You can have sex with who you want to have sex with. We're brainwashed to think that. Listen, ladies, when I tell y'all, that's nasty. It says a lot about us as women if we feel like just because we're not in a committed relationship that we could do whatever the fuck we want. Why is it that what we want is to be outside? Why is it that what we want is to have a roster? That's a problem. And then y'all wonder why men treat us how they treat us is because we treat ourselves like this. Hear me out. Treat yourself as if you're sitting on the right-hand side of God. If you treat yourself like that, you will require a lot more from men and a lot more for yourself. We need to be untouchable, women. We need to make these men start working for it again. And I'm not even talking about the kitty. I don't care if you're single. Y'all need to walk around here as if you're untouchable. You do not need to have these men having access to you. I don't care what y'all say. Men just gonna be men. No, men are gonna be who you allow them to be. And if you allow them to keep coming back, if you allow them to talk to you crazy, if you allow them to keep getting the cookie and they're doing bare minimum, they're going to keep doing it. You're going to attract who you are. When you look in the mirror and you see a beautiful woman, a hardworking woman, you see all these good qualities about yourself, a man is going to be attracted to that and you're going to attract that type of man. And then just imagine when you have multiple men and you start catching feelings for them, because that's how women work. We think with our heart. Now we liking them. Eventually we're going to lay down with them. If you're talking to 10 different dudes or 5 different dudes, out of them 10 or out of them 5, you're going to lay down with at least 3. And if you ain't sleeping with 3, you're sleeping with at least 2 of them. Why? Because women are curious. We sleep with one and now we're curious. I wonder if number 2 is better than.
You know what? I mean, to be honest with you, she's 100% right. And the worst part about it is that we value women based off of how they value themselves. And I'm not talking about when women say that they deserve everything, they deserve the world, despite the fact that they done slept with 100 different guys and everybody in the city has now had access to you. No, 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 no. How you treat yourself. If you've reserved yourself and everybody hasn't had access to you, you become more valuable to us. And the minute that women start to realize that, and they realize that you can't operate like men. And that's the biggest thing that's holding women back, is that they think that they can think like men, that they can do everything and anything and be out here in these streets, and then they can still come back from that. And I'm not saying that you can't get married, but what I am saying is that you're going to have a hard time with trying to convince somebody else to see the value that you think you deserve, that you're supposed to get. It doesn't work that way.
Now, let me tell y'all how brainwashed one of my older sisters are. My older sister, she is so brainwashed that her and I are not talking because she said that it was my fault, my father's fault, and all of the men in my family. It is all of our fault that she got pregnant by 2 losers. Now, I told her that the dude, the first guy that she got involved with, that she married, I told her that he was a loser before she even started dating him. Mind you, she's older than me. And we came up in the same circumstances, the same house, the same schools, the same parents, the same everything. Now, my father and I actually helped my sister further her career. Now, I'm not going to put all of my family business out, but she said that it's the black man's fault that she decided to reproduce 2 different men that were losers. Even though I told her that the guys were losers, my father told her that the guys were losers, and everybody else. Her synopsis was, we were not protecting her from the guys that she chose to date against our wishes. So after she went out and made these egregious, terrible decisions, at the end of the day, somehow some way, it was our fault. And for that reason, we ain't talking like 6 or 7 months.
Okay, girls, let's talk about one of the biggest brainwashing traps for women, which is sexual liberation. Why is it? A little bit of background story. Research shows that women are more likely to be attached to men after sex, which means they're more willing to spend time, effort, energy, and attention over that men they had sex with. Let's compare before sexual liberation. Back then, men have to spend a hell of time, energy, money, and efforts to propose and get married, to have sex. Most of the men, of course. It's very hard for them to have sex, while sex is their major drive of most of their action. But now, after sexual liberation, after the so-called hookup culture has prevailed, firstly, they get it for free. In bars and dating app, in anywhere, because the culture has prevailed and allowed them to do so. Secondly, they can have children of their own without bearing this financial responsibility of like marriage. They can have faster. They can have outside children, even though they don't have money. This used to be a rich privilege because they can have sex with women without using condoms or any birth control. Thirdly, they can control a woman easily by having sex with her and make her attached to him and using her free labor and using her for free sex and using her for anything because they're already attached to them. Okay, so people are saying that sexual liberation are benefiting women by giving them freedom. But who actually benefits? You already know.
They think that it's freedom to pay someone else to watch your child and go work. They think that's freedom. But they think staying in the home and taking care of your child is oppression.
That's programming.
That's programming, man.
You're taking the woman at her purpose. Her purpose was to
Be a nurturer.
be a nurturer in the home. Heaven lies under the foot of the mother. When you think about heaven, what is heaven? It is a garden. How do you produce a garden? You have to plant it. You have to water it.
Give it enough
nurture it.
sunlight. Yep.
You got to do all these things. So the woman has a great responsibility. But as soon as she denies that responsibility, you literally take yourself out the role Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put you in.
This is me 4 years ago versus me now, and the difference isn't what you think. Back then, I followed feminism blindly. I thought I didn't need a man and that being independent meant doing everything alone. I was out partying, living that hot girl lifestyle, thinking that was freedom. I was exhausted from controlling every situation, arguing about every decision, and calling my bitterness strength. I was single, stressed, and miserable, but I convinced myself I was empowered. Now I've embraced my feminine energy, I let my man lead, I trust his decisions, and I found peace in submission. I'm happier, more fulfilled, and actually living the life I wanted but was too proud to admit. The biggest glow up isn't physical, it's mental. I stopped fighting my nature and started embracing it.
But I'm trying to wrap my head around how us women were really brainwashed to believe that we were sticking it to the patriarchy by showing off all of our skin and making ourselves super available for sex, where we're going to have sex with you if we feel like it. No commitment needed. You don't have to do anything for us. We're just going to do it. And that's how we're going to stick it to the men. The men won. They won. Because we tried to stick it to them and tell them and show them how powerful we are and whatever by making ourselves more accessible to them and giving ourselves away freely to them. Like, what level of brainwashing did we go through? They won. They won.
Paul's expectations for men are so high when you're not bringing those traditional values to the table, like straight up. Why do you always have to like cry because you created a narrative of how it's supposed to go in your mind and he didn't know that? Why can't you work with him? You know, maybe no one's ever expected that much out of him. You know, maybe no one relied on him to do that before. Maybe his dad wasn't around. It's not that serious, you know? Just tell him what you need. And if he doesn't want to do it, move the fuck on. You know, you guys make dating too complicated. And it's too much just about you. There's never space for men to make mistakes. There's never space for men to try to learn and figure out how to make you happy because it's all he cares about. All men want to do is make women happy. And you're just nagging all the fucking time. You nag all the fucking time. You have to learn how to work with men. That is how you're going to have a husband. You can't just be, expecting him to just get every single thing right all the time for every single thing, you know? That's crazy. You don't get things right. There's times where your friends might disappoint you too. There's times where your family disappoints you. That is a normal thing. But for some reason, women put this immense pressure, and it's like you're not being aware. You're not being aware. You can't complain about society. You can't complain about men not being masculine enough and then expect them to be masculine and not try to help them get there. You know, you might have to back down a little bit. Maybe you're too masculine and that's why you're attracting feminine men.
It's time to wake up and start thinking for yourselves. Having a man who's got your back, to grow with you, who wants to build something with you, that's not old-fashioned. That's human nature. Don't let society brainwash you into thinking that love, loyalty, and legacy don't matter anymore. Because at the end of the day, all the trends and status and attention fade away. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.